Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're moving way past those basic genetics of dominant and recessive traits you might remember from school, and we're diving headfirst into the beautifully complicated reality of the human blueprint. Because, as it turns out, human biology operates much less like a simple on-off switch and a whole lot more like an intricately wired soundboard. I mean, have you ever looked at a family photo and wondered, why one sibling shoots up to over 6 feet tall while another is just distinctly average in height? Or why skin tones across a single family can vary in such subtle, beautiful degrees? Well, it's because our genetic code doesn't just hand down isolated commands. It actually operates through this massive, interconnected network of chain reactions. Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover beyond simple genetics, many genes, one trait, the additive allele effect, one gene, multiple traits, breaking the metabolic pathway, and finally, the complexity of you. Let's get right into it. Section 1. Beyond simple genetics. To really grasp the sheer complexity of human genetics, we kind of have to establish our baseline first. Gregor Mendel's famous 19th century experiments gave us traits with very distinct either-or alternatives. A pea seed was mathematically either yellow or green, round or wrinkled, and hey, it was a massive breakthrough. It brought mathematical logic to biology. But if you just look around at your fellow humans, you quickly realize we aren't exactly divided into neat little purple or white flower categories, right? Our biology actually complicates Mendel's rules in two incredible, almost mirror image ways. First, we have polygenic inheritance, where many different genes team up to determine just one single trait. And then we have the exact opposite, pleiotropy. This is where just one single gene acts as a puppet master over multiple seemingly unrelated traits. These two completely opposite mechanisms, they explain the vast, nuanced variations we see across the entire human population. So, Section 2, many genes, one trait. Let's explore the first side of this genetic coin, which is polygenic inheritance. Polygenic traits are controlled by 3 or more genes, all working in tandem. Think about human height for a second. We don't just have tall and short bins that people fit into. We have a continuous, sprawling gradient of heights. And crucially, polygenic inheritance doesn't just operate in a vacuum. It relies heavily on environmental influences, like nutrition, to mold that genetic foundation into your final physical phenotype. Moving on to Section 3, the additive allele effect. Human skin color is actually the perfect example to demonstrate this gradient in action. Assuming genes A, B, and C control skin color, look at how accumulating dominant alleles, those are the capital letters, literally steps up the darkness of the phenotype. A genotype with all dominant alleles results in the darkest expression, while all recessive alleles result in the lightest. And right in the middle, a heterozygous mix, 3 dominant, 3 recessive, landing perfectly on an intermediate tone. So it's essentially a biological numbers game. It's not about one gene just overpowering another in some dramatic dominant recessive showdown. It is entirely additive. Every single dominant allele basically drops a specific amount of pigment into the mix. The sheer mathematical volume of possible combinations across all these genes is exactly what creates that beautiful, continuous spectrum of human skin tones we see in the world. All right, Section 4, one gene, multiple traits. Now, let's completely flip the script. We've just seen how many genes can control one trait, but a pleiotropic gene is a single genetic instruction that has a cascading multi-trait effect throughout the whole body. Honestly, think of it like a single bad line of code crashing an entire software network. This usually happens in our metabolic pathways. If a gene codes for an enzyme at the very beginning of a crucial chain reaction, altering it sends shockwaves down the line, impacting literally every downstream biological process. Which brings us to Section 5, breaking the metabolic pathway. To truly grasp how wild this is, we need to look at a Mendelian disorder called phenylketonuria, or PKU. Under normal circumstances, this metabolic pathway acts like a super smooth assembly line. Phenylalanine is present in the body. Then, a highly specific enzyme called phenylalanine hydroxylase comes along and successfully converts it into a totally different amino acid called tyrosine. When this works, your biology just hums along perfectly. But watch what happens when a single gene mutation breaks that specific enzyme step. It triggers a massive biological pileup. Without the enzyme, the phenylalanine just can't convert. Instead, it accumulates in the brain, resulting in severe neurological effects like mental retardation. And because tyrosine isn't being produced, and remember, tyrosine is a vital precursor for melanin, the patient also experiences a distinct reduction in both hair and skin pigmentation. It's incredible. One broken gear causes multiple systemic failures. Finally, Section 6, the complexity of you. We've definitely moved far beyond the garden peas of the 19th century into the breathtaking reality of human biology today. From polygenic traits harmonizing to create a continuous spectrum of skin tones, to the cascading domino effect of a single pleiotropic gene breaking down an entire metabolic pathway, when one altered code can literally change your brain chemistry and your hair color, and a whole chorus of genes has to sing just to determine your height, you start to realize your DNA is an absolute masterpiece of biological engineering. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I'll leave you with this. If just one gene can do all this, what other incredible secrets is the rest of your genome hiding?